The blueprints of the dead. The mansion was never still. Hammers clanged at dawn, saws screamed through midnight, and whispers traveled down the corridors like wind through bones. Locals began calling it the house that breathed. 2 weeks after the carpenter's disappearance, Sarah summoned the foreman to her study. A vast room filled with blueprints sprawled across the floor. The papers showed impossible layouts, staircases looping in circles, doors opening into thin air, chimneys that ended inside walls. The foreman, a pragmatic man named Edward Bragg, stared at the drawings with unease. "Mrs. Winchester," he said quietly, "none of this makes sense." Sarah's expression didn't change. "It doesn't need to," she whispered. "It only needs to keep them lost." That same week, the neighbors began hearing strange sounds at night, hammering long after the workers had gone home, and the faint tolling of a bell from somewhere deep inside the mansion. When Edward returned to inspect the grounds, he found new walls built overnight, and no one could explain who'd done the work. Rumors spread through San Jose like wildfire. Some said Sarah had hired secret workers who built only by candlelight. Others swore they'd seen her talking to shadows that answered back. But when a young maid named Eliza Mott vanished while cleaning the fourth-floor hallway, the whispers turned into panic. The sheriff's department launched a full investigation. When officers entered the mansion, even they couldn't find their way out. The house was a labyrinth, hallways looping endlessly, staircases stopping midair, doors opening into black voids. Every room seemed to shift depending on where you stood, like the walls themselves were breathing. Inside Sarah's private quarters, investigators found something even more disturbing. A locked desk drawer containing sketches of the mansion. But on each page, human silhouettes were drawn into the rooms. Some were standing in corners. Others lay motionless on the floors. And one, dated the very day Eliza disappeared, was marked with a single word written in trembling ink: "Found." When asked about the drawing, Sarah refused to answer. "The house knows where they are," she murmured. "It's trying to show me." Later that night, as the investigators left, one of them, Deputy Harold Finn, turned back toward the towering house. A single light flickered in an attic window, though no one was supposed to be up there. Then, faintly, he saw movement, a woman's silhouette standing perfectly still, watching him. But when he blinked, she was gone. The next morning, the sheriff received a note slid under his office door. It was written in Sarah Winchester's handwriting, though she claimed she never sent it. It read only, "He shouldn't have looked up." The room that remembered. When Sarah Winchester died in her sleep in 1922, construction on the mansion stopped for the first time in 38 years. Hammers fell silent. Saws were left mid-cut. Workers gathered outside the strange house, afraid to go back in, afraid to even look at what they'd built. Sarah's lawyer arrived days later with an order to secure the property and document everything for the estate. But when the team began their inspection, they discovered that none of the blueprints matched the real layout anymore. Hallways appeared that weren't supposed to exist. Rooms extended far beyond the dimensions shown on paper. It was as if the house had kept building itself after her death. While cataloging her belongings, one assistant found a small brass key labeled Room 471. No such room appeared on any of the house's plans. The staff assumed it was a mistake, until a creaking noise led them to a walled-up section behind the conservatory. The plaster there was fresh, as if sealed only weeks before Sarah's passing. When they broke through, a wave of cold air poured out, carrying the smell of dust and old timber, and something else, something sweet, like rotting flowers. Inside, they found the room, square, empty, and silent. A single chair sat in the center, facing a cracked mirror. Beneath it lay stacks of yellowed papers, letters addressed to no one, and sketches of faces, some clearly drawn from memory, others blurred and unfinished. Each page bore the same phrase, scrawled again and again in Sarah's delicate handwriting: "Keep them busy." Behind the mirror, one of the investigators found a hidden compartment. Inside it was a reel of photographs, early glass negatives. When developed, the images revealed what appeared to be construction crews at work, but in the background of nearly every frame stood faint, transparent figures watching them, their features distorted, their shapes barely human. The discovery was kept secret for decades, but in 1974, When the mansion reopened as a tourist attraction, staff began reporting that some rooms refused to stay locked. Guides claimed they'd close one door at night only to find it open again by morning. One caretaker said he followed the sound of hammering down the hall, thinking maintenance was being done, only to find an empty corridor and a single nail, freshly driven into the wall. Today, visitors still say the same thing. The house feels alive. Some claim they've seen Sarah herself, standing in her morning black, pacing through endless corridors that lead nowhere. Others hear whispers, not words, just the sound of someone counting. And perhaps that's the truth Sarah knew until her final breath. The mansion was never about the ghosts chasing her. It was about the ones she kept building for. Even now, when the wind blows through its halls, you can hear it faintly, the tapping of hammers, echoing from a room that no longer exists. If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one, hit subscribe. And remember, some houses never stop building.